what am I doing? Why am I the image of everything I do? But to sit down and fathers, those of you who are here, fathers, is very important. Don't let anything escape without Christ being in it. Don't let any opportunity escape without pointing to Christ. I find this very easy to do in some areas, very difficult to do in others. For example, I love nature. Sunsets, trees, everything. All right? I find it very easy to take my boys out and start explaining to them Christ. All right? Look at that sunset. Who made that? Who painted that? Who did that? Why did he do it? You've got, because this mindset of just Christ is everything. All things were made by him, for him. You see, that's the only way to have a right understanding of the universe. I hear people who'll sit there and go, you know, the only way to have a right understanding of the universe is theistically. It's to believe in that there is this divine thing. Guys, I guess that's better than professed atheism. A bit more than that. Not that everything was made for this vague idea of deity. Somehow gives us as humans dignity and so on and so forth. No, it's all made for him. For Jesus Christ. For the Nazarene. Do I need to make myself clear? A lot of men I don't get on the internet hardly at all, but just looking, because men who have, when they've been pressed in interviews, men, evangelical men, men who have been evangelists, men who, when they've been pressed in interviews, do you believe there's any other way to heaven other than Jesus Christ? And to hear them say, well, it's not for me to judge. That's not my ministry. I want you to know they have denied Jesus Christ. You can't sit there and say things like that. You've got to say, look, let me make myself as clear as possible. Not only is Jesus Christ the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father at all except through him. What I want you to understand is Jesus Christ made everything. Jesus Christ made everything for himself, and anything outside of Jesus Christ is not even to be defined as real. You see? And you can't sit there and go, you know, like I saw this one man in this interview. He's at this conference of all these different religions, and he gets up as a Christian. He's trying to be very, very friendly, very kind. I can appreciate that. But saying, you know, that religions, you know, we need religion in the world, and we need to, religion has a powerful influence for good, and whether you're from over here in this faith and over here in this thing, we all, in a sense, need to work together in spite of our real differences. I can appreciate what he's saying, but he's wrong. The world does not need religion. That's a lie. That's what Jesus came to teach. You don't need religion. You need me. And if I'm not the center of it, it's not religion. You see? That's what you're going to have to make your stand. Do not be belligerent. Do not be critical. Do not be mean-spirited. Be loving, kind, humble. You are never, never given the right to defend Christianity with the sword. You are given the right to die for your enemies and to serve them. But don't you ever, ever back down on this point, because you've denied Christ when you do. If someone says, you mean to tell me that you're saying that anyone who does not have Jesus Christ is going to hell? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Okay? I remember Hal Lindsey. I don't agree with the eschatology and some other things, but someone was telling me a while back about something he did, and I just thought it was very important to understand this dinner thing, and he was the speaker, and after someone stood up and said, now, you know, doctor, are you telling us that you believe eternal hell? He goes, in a word, yes. Next question. And in a sense, and if you ever When someone asks you that question, do you believe someone's going to heaven other than through Jesus Christ? If you ever say, I'm not to judge, and God has called me to a different ministry of just preaching the love of God, I want you to know you are a liar and a deceiver, and you need to get out of the ministry. Because you have not acted in love. You have acted in cowardice. You have not sought to save humanity. You've sought to save your own skin, and you have denied Jesus Christ. Don't you ever do that. Because if the Christians of the first century had done that, none of them would have died. Because, see, the problem with Christianity in the first century was not that they said Jesus was a Savior. No one would have had a problem with them saying Jesus is a Savior. They said Jesus is the only Savior, which meant everyone else's Savior was wrong. And that's where the problem started. And that's where that's what gets Christianity in trouble. You will never have a problem, never, if you proclaim Jesus Christ as your personal Savior and yet open the door for others to be saved apart from Him. You'll be invited on the Oprah Winfrey Show and everything else. But when you say, and you stand your ground, isn't this amazing? When I became a Christian back in whenever, 81 or whatever, I mean, no one talked about this. I mean, everybody knew. Jesus, you know, if you're a Christian, Jesus is the only way. I mean, that's all there is to it. Now, among evangelicals even, you're considered radical if you sit there and go, no, Jesus is the only way. And no, there are no exceptions. Period. And you've got to stand. It is Christocentric, our faith. All about Christ. Don't deny Him. Because I want you to know, men that have preached to millions, and men that have even been used, I believe, to bring about the salvation of other men, have now themselves become forfeit. So be very, very careful. Now, let's go to page 44. Joy, the end for which Christ aimed. I believe his name is pronounced William Gouge, but I'm not sure because I've heard people pronounce it several different ways. Gouge. He writes, Christ's joy was and is comprised of the following: the glory which Christ left when He descended into the lower parts of the earth. Therefore, a little before His ascension thereunto, He thus prayed, Father, glorify Thou me with glory which I had with Thee before the world was. All that was added by the work of redemption as a clear manifestation of God's divine properties, the exaltation of His human nature, man's redemption and salvation following thereupon, the praises that through all ages should be given to Him, the preaching of the gospel through the whole world. Now I want us to look at something. These two things are very important. Christ's joy was comprised of what? First of all, He was going to receive the glory that He had before His incarnation. Do you understand me? He left the glory of heaven and became a man and walked humbly as a servant. Now, He knew that after He completed His task, He would ascend more and He would receive that glory. But now here's what you need to understand, and it's not brought out enough in contemporary preaching. He doesn't just go back and receive the glory that He had before. Do you understand me? Things are going to change. It's going to be greater glory. This is very, very important. And some serious changes and marvelous things going on. Go back. There would be a clear manifestation on properties. Number 3. Number 4, praises that through all ages should preaching gospel through the whole. Because I want to emphasize this. The Son of God, for all eternity, worship both ever since angels have been, and sit upon that throne. Isaac said it, according to chapter 12. It's happened. Now look at us. He is done. There's something different. You know what it is? He's a man. Flesh has been exalted. I mean flesh in a good way. The human nature has been exalted to the right hand of God. Guys, again, I always use this statement. There's enough there for all of eternity to be mesmerized in worship for all of eternity. The one seated hand of God